back after a little bit of a shorter break because the match got just moved a bit further into our odds. We have now Antic versus Steak and Cheese, and hopefully this will not be another 3-0. But it could happen because instead of Sabo Jr., we have Kuda now playing. So Spark and Kuda, definitely a duo that is pretty strong, I would say, and come to win all their matches.
Yeah, definitely something that is going to be a tough battle for Steak and Cheese. They might actually get fully. It could be a full roast of that steak, but we'll have to wait and see how things go.
Good
I mean,
focus.
Planetary Goose and Svet, they are definitely good players. We've seen them have a very solid pace all around. Spark, of course, has shown that he has consistency and pace, and now Kuda in the mix as well. It's gonna be quite a difficult task. Hopefully. It's always, of course, hopefully what happened to him yesterday in real life doesn't really get to his head too much, and he's able to focus on the match and was able to, get back into the driving of it as well. I assume he wasn't able to do that much yesterday, but hopefully he will be able to carry on the legacy of Sabo Jr., the man, the myth, the legend himself, and make Sabo proud. Sabo worked really hard to get them in there alongside with Spark. So hopefully Kuda can keep that trend going and get to the grand final.
Yeah, I mean, Sabo was definitely the fan favorite yesterday, but now, I mean, they won their matches and he had some like insane rounds where he just had to get this kind of stuff happening, and he done his deeds. So Spark and Kuda would have not been in the first seed without him, let's say like that. So get a clap in the chat, of course, and Kuda will probably be very grateful about that. The Indonesian now is back playing with his Indian teammate Spark in that way, who looked absolutely fantastic yesterday, drove great times. And I mean, yeah, Planetary Goose and Sweat look great as well, but I think the pace advantage is definitely on Spark and Kuda's side. We also said that for Winky Face and Red Bolts, and what happened, it was a 3-0, but Neumann and Complex, I mean, they really stepped up from yesterday, and we might gonna see a rematch, but it's too early to say because the match has not started just yet. Kuda and Spark are already on the server, Planetary Goose and Sweat as well, and the match and Pick and Ban or Pick and Pick Face will start very soon. I do look forward to that. My prediction, a 3-0. So I will go with what you said last time. Will you go for the 3-2 for Steak and Cheese?
I'm gonna say that I don't know. I feel like Complex, given how Complex and Neumann upped their game, I think that Planetary Goose and Sved will go the same distance. Of course, Bali will be the first pick. It seems to be a staple for Antic. I think that if anything is to go by, it seems that the teams that they will be more prepared. I think they will be more prepared, at least in regards to, I would say that Restless wasn't, but I think Planetary Goose and Sweat will be from the same leaf in that regard, that they will be more prepared today than they were yesterday. So I think they will give a much better fight for Antic. But we'll have to wait and see. Clearly, so far, when I've said that somebody should give a fight and have a very easy time of getting through this, it's gone the exact opposite way. So you could be very much right, I could be very much wrong, and it could go either way. But I think you would be a fool to not say that Antic has the upper hand here. It's more of the case how much Steak and Cheese have upped their game from yesterday.
Definitely, and also what Kuda will do, of course. I think he has been practicing because it was like a short notice that he actually couldn't make it yesterday, so he's prepared. I mean, he's missing the map experience or like the match experience, but there you go. The pick phase has just ended, and let's just go through it. Bali is map number 1, then we have Putumayo as the second map. Sun's Retreat, so they are similar than in the first match that we have seen. Then it is Burn It All Down and Archetype as the other maps, as I think someone is lagging out here. It's Spark right now, who's having some problems, so he's standing still. Not sure what's going on there, but the match will start soon. I hope everything is fine for him, and we will not have his internet doing some shenanigans, as it is, he's still not back.
Oh, well, we'll have to wait and see. Of course, we will be switching maps now, so we'll see how things will go for him if he actually joins the server. If not, well, we can always, if there is a pause that can be made, it can be made right now. Of course, the best time to do it. So we haven't actually started the match, and everything. And it seems that Spark maybe needs to have a quick
He
router
needs a
reset or in such
spark.
as well. Yeah, definitely. Hopefully there wasn't a spark in the wires somewhere. We'll have to wait for him to get back on the server. So most likely we will have a bit of a pause to start us off, but that's perfectly fine. If anything, it's better to do it right now. It would be worse, when you're in the middle of the match, then it's usually where people get thrown off the most. But if there's any good time, then it's the start of the match, in my opinion.
Yeah, so I think we're just waiting for Spark before the match is going to start, so we have a pause already. I hope everything will be fine on his side, and nothing will just interrupt him of playing, as of course Sweat and Planetary Goose get some more warm-up in, and Kuda just waiting and checking on him by the looks of it. So I mean, this can already throw you off guard quite a bit, but I think what you said beforehand is very important, that if it happens during a match, it is a bigger factor than what is going on now. So I hope everything is fine. As Iridium says, he's fully offline, so I hope it will not be a... I'm not sure what happens, like what stands in the rulebook, if, let's say, Spark is not coming back. Maybe just a DC or a power outage, I don't know. I hope everything will be fine though.
Well, we'll have to wait and see in that regard. Well, there is a rule in regards to disconnections as well. If it will have to wait and see. The thing is, like, the wording in the rulebook is afterwards the match is paused and the players are not allowed to drive until one of the following conditions apply: the technical problem has been resolved, or 10 minutes have passed since the occurrence of the technical problem. And then afterwards, and so we'll have to wait and see. Otherwise, Kuda might just have to solo it, draw his way until Spark joins. Or Sabo! He has to make a return in this time for Spark.
Yeah, that would be fun to see Sabo. Sabo type 1 in chat. He's already getting ready, he's already warming up.
Coach might have to call in another favor. It could be very possible that hopefully there might be a possibility that we might have to actually even restart the server, because I do see that Spark technically is on the server. Like it can sometimes happen that when a disconnection happens right when we are switching maps or such and such, the account itself it gets sort of locked into the server, so you cannot actually rejoin again. We might actually have to do a restart, or somebody has to force kick him out of the server so he can actually rejoin, The ghost of Spark is still on the server, and that's, I think, holding him back from actually joining.
Yeah, Sabo's in the chat right now, which is really fun, actually. Yeah, so
Sabo, start practicing, you might be needed.
Sabo, warm up! Sabo, warm up!
That would be quite amazing. Imagine Sabo just carries them to the grand final and wins it as well.
He can't join, he says. Okay, so the server has to be restarted.
Yeah, I thought as much as well. It can happen sometimes that if with disconnections, that you sort of a ghost of your account gets stuck in the server and it doesn't allow you to join. It can happen sometimes.
Yeah. Yep. So some technical difficulties. What would be a Trackmania event without that? It's always happening, but of course, it is what it is. But I think Reeser has to restart the server. I had that issue as well when I got Division 1 in Cup of the Day. Then you just cannot rejoin. You are locked on the server. You cannot kick someone. It's not possible. Have to He can? No, can he rejoin? Okay, he's on. Spark is on the server, so very nice.
He was able
so
to
it actually worked.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So if you can kick someone from the server, side note, you can then rejoin again. I thought that you just logged in and I know you timed out, so there's no return. You're just a void on the server. But that is not the case. So Kuda and Spark are on the server. Glad that this issue has been resolved. I hope everything will be fine for the future of the match as well, that there will not be another DC. But I mean, yesterday for Spark it was also fine, right? So we're going to start here very soon, as Spark probably needs to get situated here after the DC. I mean, it's just think about it. Did this happen to you already, that you DC'd before a match or in a match?
I've had situations where I haven't. I've had cases where I've been able. I've DC'd from the server, or kicked weirdly from the server, and then you get sort of locked out of it the similar way like Spark it. And it is usually that you either have to wait for somebody to kick you, or you just have to wait for sometimes just the server to refresh, usually a map change or something like that fixes that problem. Then the server recognizes how the guy is actually not on the server, and then you're back in business. But for the time being, it seems that at least from the information, at least Spark is given a bit more time to make sure, the internet is actually fine and it is not false hope. And once those checks are done, then we can continue. But for the time being, we can just, wait and chill. Planetary Goose and Svet technically can take advantage of it. They can literally just now practice and practice and practice. They have literally the everlasting warm up to just, get into the map. If there's any time to practice right now, get into the groove of it, it would be right now. But
I'm not sure actually if that is so good.
It depends. I think on players. If I was
for me,
at
it would
them,
be
I would
bad.
actually drive it a few times. Just to get the muscle memory down a bit. Get the feeling in the fingers a bit more, and then I would stop. I wouldn't do every single time, but it's just one or two. Just get the blood flowing a bit.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it would be definitely something that would pull me off guard. To be honest, if I was playing now for 10 minutes, 1 or 2 runs, yeah, would be great, but not so many. But I think everyone is just completely different in this regard. As we are unpausing right now, and we are starting with a match, so everything should be settled now. And the semifinal 1 will be starting, as we have seen semifinal 2 already. But this one is already over. I mean, we're kind of starting at death time now, so it's 8:46. So
Yep.
everything is good now, as it is
Clearly all
starting
in
now.
schedule.
Yeah, we are in time, guys. We're still in time. I don't know what you want. Everything is good.
Yeah. We ended it. We ended the first match early just for this match to start on time. Everything is scripted. We knew that Spark was going to have an internet issue, and we started 45 as actually scheduled. Props to the organizers for knowing that in advance. That's some foresight and a half, to be honest. But there's only one foresight at the moment, and it is the fact that Antic are already on a hot streak to start off, and Svet is in the mix, and Kuda is actually the one to take the lead, and that is a worrying sign. If anything, if Kuda and Spark are just one together, in front, that's going to be a tough task, and Svet does touch the wall, has to go safe, and that is a perfect start for Antic, and Kuda already out of the gate, just showing what pace he has.
Yeah, that's the ace, and I mean the warm-up did not pay dividends in this case, so Antic with a great performance, and it's also Spark taking over the lead, even though Kuda got the better start from both of them. But, I mean, Spark just showing what he's capable of doing in the ending. He got that very nice snap there and was able to get himself that first position, as it's now a closer round. Spark and Kuda both with great lines. Oh, Spark lagging a little bit again, but everything is good. So his internet looks to be stable. And look at that. First and second for them again. Planetary Goose 0.2 behind, opts for a wider approach. Can maybe have a snap here on that ice sector, and yes, he will do so. Has more speed than Kuda. Kuda with a better approach, approaching the ending now here in that sector. It's really important to go as wide as possible on that dirt section. Goose does it really good, but it's not enough to overtake Spark, so it will be another huge pile of points for Antic. It is 5-1, so they already have through map number 1.
Yeah, that was a very good attempt by Planetary Goose. Did get more speed, but the gap was just wide enough that he wasn't able to catch up to and get a draw from the round.
Oh.
As Svet, or no,
Kuda.
was that? Oh, Kuda absolutely just smacks into the wall and now puts Spark in a familiar position from yesterday. Well, Sabo usually had a bit of a few moments, especially on this track. He had that one jump there, the transition, where he went to his own line, his own masterpiece, and Spark was the one to carry their way up to the victory. So, I mean, Spark in a familiar position, looking to get first position. Planetary Goose and Svet, well, they're trying, but I think the gap is too far behind, unless Spark now hits the wall here, which I don't think he will do. He seems to be rather consistent with this track, but that is... that was very much to the right, and Planetary Goose almost was able to take it in the end, but still a draw. 6-2, and yeah, that's still very comfortable for Antic, but hopefully Kuda doesn't smack the wall in the next round.
Yeah, I mean, it was a classic no-side there for Kuda at the start, and it's Spark, I mean, winning all rounds for now. He has 3 out of 3, and this time a no-side did not happen, but Kuda did respect this turn a bit more by the looks of it, but now is on the track, so he can get himself a good position in this round, because Spark just looks to be the safe anchor. I mean, he knows how to play this format when, I mean, just with him yesterday playing with Sabo Jr. and it feels like he could have almost subbed in everybody and it would have been fine. Even someone like Buckley, right? Who's, yeah, a quite conservative race driver, let's say like that. And right now he has a better teammate who is on 2nd position. Spark is on a great time by the looks of it. Could be a sub 48 here by just seeing the splits. He's half a second ahead, and look at that, a 48.06. So not quite just yet, but it's 92, and they're only 1 point away of winning their first pick.
Yeah, but we have to keep in mind as well that this was a track that Spark chose even with Sabo Jr. So it shows that Spark is very comfortable on it and currently has been 100% first position. So I feel like this is more of a strength pick for Spark because he seems to be just absolutely dominating on Bali, and Kuda is just there, you know, the same way that Sabo was, but Kuda is even more so there, as Planetary Goose has a very awkward line and completely dead, and it is only Sved to really do much. But given the scoreline, even if Sved somehow does the most miraculous end and ends up being first, that will be more than enough for Antic. And this has been Antic's map pick, and this has been the map pick that always has secured them the win. And Spark will leave this track off with 100% first position as well, and a sub 48 to end it off as well. So a very nice way to get an ace. 12-2. No,
that's the horn that I was talking about yesterday.
Okay, now I hear it.
Goose,
today.
man.
I don't know why I hear it today.
Dude, what is that, man? This is so disorienting. It's so weird. Anyway, it's 12-2 for Antic, and there you go. So first map already in the book after 5 rounds. Yeah, it's a goose honk. It's more like just weird noises. It's so weird.
It's a very distressed goose, if anything. That sounds like a very much in pain goose. Well, after that previous map, maybe it's rightly so, because they got really handed to themselves. But we are moving on to Putumayo. So this is now a pick of steak and cheese. So we'll have to see how this one pans out. This is still a track that Spark and Kuda should be very much familiar with. But given that Planetary Goose instead picked it this time, we should be seeing much more of a fight on our hands now. Whether it will actually come into fruition, we'll see.
Good warm-up there from them, from S and C for steak and cheese there. So let's go into the round and see what will happen as Goose and Sweat get a great start yet again. Spark and Kuda definitely have to step up the game if they want to match the pace from the warm-up. And right now they're just doing that, elevating themselves into first and second. But we see Spark elevating himself into the air. And that is airtime, and losing him a lot of time. Still out of Sweat, who just goes into the water. And now it's a great fight for first between Goose and Kuda.
Yeah, they are up in front at the moment, and this would be very much needed for Planetary Goose to take the first position. Both Spark and Sved had airtime in the same position, but Sved was the one who completely died compared to Spark, who died quite significantly as well, but not as much as Sved. But Kuda, much more confident in that transition, is able to hold on to first position and get that victory for Antics, and exactly what they need after maybe not the best start. And, you know, Spark losing his 100% win ratio on the first position as well, so that much is gone as well. But you know, he's trying to keep his percentages high. At least yesterday he had it very high, and today he's still keeping at 83% even with that one. But Putumayo, I don't know, that corner clip, very much not a normal mistake you're supposed to make, at least on this track.
An abnormal mistake, let's say like that, but those things usually happen just at the start, you know, that you clip something there. here and there you make mistakes, but Spark coming back with a great section. It didn't even lose too much time. Kuda going super low. Goose with a bit more speed there reclaims the lead, and it's a good fight for first. I think everything will be decided in the last sector of the map here as we go into this very, very nice quarter pipe transition where you want to stay very high into a lower approach to maximize your speed in that sector. And then also you want to predict your steering movement beforehand. And Goose, well, down, and also Spark down, so Swid going all the way up to P number 2. And well, this could have been much more for Antic, but I mean, they got away with this with a draw. 51.45 the winning time, and then Swid is 1.4 seconds behind. So both teams are like, yeah, you know what, we could have gotten more out of this one, but it didn't happen.
Yeah, but it clearly shows that Antic not feeling as comfortable on this track compared to Bali. So it only puts more pressure on them, and it shows that Steak and Cheese, you know, they have much more to take from this. As you said, it's rightly so that it could have been actually a victory for Steak and Cheese in that round if Planetary Goose had a much better ending job. That's the one part that has been sort of the Achilles heel for many, because it is fragile as well. So you have to be quite mindful of how you take that transition. You want to take it as fast as possible, as low as possible, but a little bit of airtime, and that is pretty much death. And we see that Spark now much more in the lead and much more confident.
Oh, great line from Kuda.
Much more faster as well. Ooh. And Kuda, well, he can try, but cannot quite catch up to Planetary Goose. But it is a victory still, and that's more than enough for Antic. They are more than happy to just take this, and they will get that track point in no time.
Yeah, very, very well said there with the Achilles heel. I really like that comparison, because I mean, you have a lot of like very precise transitions on this map, a lot of like just minimized, like just fracture inputs that will just determine if you fly off or if you get a perfect line. So either you look like a fool or you look like just $1 million deal in this way, and right now Kuda tried to look like $1 million deal, but he got airtime at the start and right now is running behind. He's 0.6 away, and it is Swid and Goose right now fighting it out with Spark. Already 1 point would be good for Spark, of course, but he should definitely claim that first position. Good line from Goose though, going into the lead there, very aggressive on the inside, but Spark will have more speed and will go for the overtake. Gets a bit of airtime, but also Goose didn't get the best line, so positions are as is. Swid also overtakes his teammate by a couple of hundreds there, 2 to be exact, and it will be another draw. 6-4, Antic still leading, but Steak and Cheese also putting in great effort on their first pick.
Yeah, they're definitely putting in a great race towards the end, but it seems that Steak and Cheese are losing out on the battle towards that transition. If Spark or Kuda are there or in the mix with the two, then it's gonna be, at the moment, Antic favored. Sved has to lift off in order to not get an airtime, and Spark also equally as so has a bit of a rougher time making that transition there. But they are sort of hand in hand going together. Each member has their own compatriot as they go along the track. Planetary Goose has been the more confident on this track. Kuda is trying to fight him, and Sved and Spark are in the back, but I don't know, this could again be one of those cases. Ooh, but Spark not having the best transition, and again, if Kuda has a good ending, which he does, it's just Antic have their hand in here. They cannot really, Steak and Cheese cannot really do much. They're always up there with them, but when it comes to that transition, they just get like 0.2, 0.3 every single time.
Yeah, they always have an answer to the check here from Steak and Cheese, and I mean, this just looks good, but it could have been much more. They could use their, they could use it much more, or they can capitalize from that a bit more, because I mean, Kuda could have definitely risked, or could have not risked a turn, and with that could have made it into a third position, and it would have been 8 points instead of 7. But now they have track point on their side again, as Kuda is behind. And I mean, 10% crashes, 30% top ones. Not too bad. Definitely playing a more safe, or a safer approach than some of the other teams. But he certainly has to get himself at least second or third in this round for it to be very advantageous, as Spark gets an interesting line there. Gets away with that. Kuda also with a good approach, and look at that. Spark now to the wall, and Kuda from last to first, and Spark also will only get that. Yeah, well, he will. What will happen?
What are they doing?
Wow, that's interesting. Yeah.
That is very ambitious by Spark, a man who has been sort of, the cool, calm, and collected. Had one of those. What I said yesterday. You have one of those. Lapse of judgment, your lack of brain cell moments, and I think Spark had one of those at the moment. I think he's gonna probably laugh it off as well at the same time. But hey,
I mean, it was a
if
draw,
anything, yeah, it still was a draw, so Antic are more than happy with that. It doesn't give any track points to Steak and Cheese, and now Antic only need a victory. So, hey, who are you to question the madness, They are the ones who are in the lead, and honestly, they look to be the favorites to actually take it, as currently, technically, nobody's really in the mix, so hard to really differentiate the two, but Spark's still in the lead with Kuda right behind him.
Yeah, good around here by the looks of it. Could still go in either of the ways, but Spark and Kuda with a way better approach than Swed. Look at the speed difference here in this long section from Spark and Kuda versus their opponents. And also now Spark opting for a better line in this case, but it's still so close. But we see so many mistakes here in this jump. It is Swed and Kuda with mistakes, and Spark will get second. Who will get third? It will be Kuda. So again, it's another draw. Swed not able to finish. I mean, this respawn was quite a challenge, but you shouldn't approach it like this. You should go later off of the pipe, and then you're able to clear it. You cannot get it smooth, but you want to stay more on the left and don't exit it like this. Yeah, Swed aufpassen, but also, I mean, it was a mistake that has happened there already in the round beforehand.
Yeah, clearly they are not RPG players, Really not understanding the fact, pipes and how to take transitions in the most optimal way with low amounts of speed, More RPG, playing, It's a very useful set of style to have various, skills to master, because, but Sved gets the airtime, and that could be the nail in the coffin, as that is not how you want to get that jump. And now Planetary Goose, well, he's driving for the win, but that is the most he's gonna get. He can only get a draw out of this at maximum, and Antic will be going for the GG here. Maybe Planetary Goose can still get, a good round. Be nice.
Yeah, I mean, that was a very clean transition, but this drift was a bit too ambitious. I mean, he was pushing, he was going for it. This time Antic not failing the ending, but they struggled a lot on this map, and they still took it home with a 12-7 scoreline. And we're gonna go to map number 3 after hearing that goose scream, which sounds like a terrible accident. Yeah. So let's just go to the next map. Let's go to map number 3, which will be Sun's Retreat. So this map will celebrate its return. We've also seen it as the decisive last third map on the previous match, and it will happen now again. Last time it was a 12-2 for Trident Storm. What can Antic do on this? I think this will be also a very, very favorable map for them.
Yeah, well, it was formerly Spark had the world record here before Winky got it. So, maybe that, makes it the case. But, it is fun to actually think about it. Yesterday, we gave each match 30 minutes, and, we were struggling to keep within that 30 minutes. Now we give everybody 45 minutes, and they're like, we'll do it in 20 minutes. Take it or leave it, And everybody's just like, we try to be very nice towards people, give them time, give everybody a scheduling and everything, And immediately everybody's just like, 20-minute match, that's we got places to be, it's a Sunday, I have, we have a bit of the weekend still left, gotta redo and stuff, friends are waiting, calling, wanna go to the pub or, hang out, so clearly everybody has plans there to get something.
You go to a pub on a Sunday?
I don't know. I don't know what people do. I don't know. I'm not the kind
I
of
wouldn't
guy
do that.
Really go out to party, stuff like that. Sunday,
but not on a Sunday.
Not the best way to do it. Yeah, but people are weird. You never know. Maybe people in Asia have different ideas. I don't even have pubs. Even worse.
I thought you wanted to say I don't even know if they have ideas. Wow.
No, not that. But in the sense. But then again, you could think, New
a Korean barbecue, yeah.
Barbecue could be nice, A Sunday barbecue sounds nice.
Yeah, Korean barbecue is good. I mean, we had that at XP Evo. That was a lot of fun. That was very good. And, well, let's jump into the first round here, as Antic has quite the best start here in this one, even though Spark didn't get the best line across, but it worked out for him. Very, very well done from Spark, and this is a great round if we've ever seen one. Swid, the only player who has fallen majorly behind, but that's only 0.3 of a second here, and Kuda and Spark temporarily get overtaken by Goose. Good line from Kuda, going so much there over the penalty surface, has a bit more speed than Goose, goes for the SD. Who's gonna be in second place? Goose or Kuda? It will be Goose by 6,000 of a second, but look at those times. 3 times below 1 minute. Good round, and Antic taking home the victory in map number 3.
Yeah, very nice stuff. That is exactly what you love to see to start you off. But it is, that was very close to being an ace, but just Planetary Goose being just like a few inches to the right made the difference. But we can clearly see that Planetary Goose, honestly, Planetary Goose has been absolutely phenomenal today. Sved, of course, as well, but Planetary Goose is the one that you've seen up in front, really giving a fight to the players, and Kuda is the one that has to actually beat Spawn. So now they have a very good shot. Well, not with Sved hitting that wall there. So now they're just literally neck and neck, right next to each other. So we can watch the first and second position fight each other out, and then we can come back to Kuda and Sved once we get over the finish line. So perfect situation right now. Oh, that's not perfect for Spark though.
Yeah, that was a crash into the wall, but also Goose not with the best line. I mean, Spark will definitely get that second place. He just opts for that safe finish. Look at that. And let's see who gets second place. Kuda is ahead of Swid, so will be a draw. So it's 3-2. And Steak and Cheese, well, I mean, in those kind of situations, they have to capitalize, and Sweat is like, oh man, why did I respawn? I hope that he can get things sorted out in this round, and he doesn't apply too much pressure on him, because for me it's like, you know, when I see those opportunities where it's like, oh, this was a free second place, I'm always like having feelings of regrets where I risk the turn that much, right? I always have that.
I mean, it's a very common thing. Svet has a bit of a corner clip there as well. Yeah, it's a very common thing where you just see like you've been constantly doing like solid enough rounds, you know, and then you still are like third and fourth, and then that one round you like crash, and then you see, you know, it happens. The same thing happens a couple of days. Well, you go out with only like a second, and then the next round everybody just loses their brain cell. There's like 3 people 10 seconds behind the leader, and you're like, I could have been in this round, and then you're just like, well, GG to me, I guess. But for the time being, it is Planetary Goose who's hoping to get another draw out of this, because, oh, but Kuda also has a bit of a fumble, and Sved is back in 3rd position. Maybe it could be possible if Planetary Goose absolutely sends it, but Spark, with much more speed, I think will have it here, and it will be another draw.
Oh no. Oh, that was close for Goose. Very close fights here again for the respective positions, but it was Spark staying ahead. Also good time, a 0.574. Goose was going so inside there and went so aggressive that he lost so much speed, but still a great time. I mean, only quarter of a second behind, but it's another draw. So Steak and Cheese showing that they are a worthy opponent. And I do think that they can, with that performance, take home that 3rd position, even though Spark and Kuda just looking way too strong. As we see the first mistake being done by Goose, who's now behind. So maybe a horn or something like that. You know, Goose horn will serve him good luck. But not in this round, by the looks of it, because Spark and Kuda opting for great lines as well. Swid going a bit wider, will have a better apex, but didn't really opt for that one. Was hesitant on the steering movement, and he drops even further behind, make it quarter of a second, but that is a speech bubble moment and a half for Kuda, and this will be another draw. Like, I'm not sure what is happening, but it just seems like on map 2 and 3, Antic just throwing away so many free rounds, but they still get away with that due to their fine class pace.
Yeah, I mean, if anything, that is as hard of a hit into a pole as you could possibly get. But, you know, if anything, you know, the Steak and Cheese is not fully cooked yet, so they definitely have something to get out of us here. But, I mean, the thing is, like, it goes both ways, you know. Antic both have had those rounds where, you know, they could have gotten aces. Steak and Cheese have had rounds where they could have gotten victories and such as well. So it's sort of, again, sort of who will break first. And honestly, Antic have been the one that looked a lot more convincing in that regard. But Planetary Goose, when he's been up front, it has been rather a bit of a headache for Antic as well. But so far, everybody, you know, being in the mix, you know, everybody has, you know, social distancing in mind, at least for now, when they are on the track. Sved a bit more, and the others maybe a bit more shy to get into the mix. But Spark, Kuda, and Goose all in there. Really hard to separate the 3 there. So Sved is just looking for that mistake as Spark touches the wall and
It's
puts
incredible.
Steak and Cheese into a victory position. And if Goose can hold this, well, we might be on a draw, but Goose is really testing the walls there. Kuda might have more speed here. He's trying to tap away. Goose has more speed. Kuda just with the flick in the end holds on to the draw and just enough to tap away to first position.
It is another draw here out of nothing, but Spark and Kuda could have already closed it out at this point, but they were not able to do it. I mean, 6-5 it is, and I think that was the 4th draw in this series. There was 1 victory for Antic to start things off on this map, and then we have seen 4 consecutive draws in a row now. So, kind of the match here by the looks of it, but also Antic struggling a lot, and I mean, this is showing some weaknesses on this particular map. But I mean, they're 2-0 ahead, you know, they can cruise it, but it just seems that, like, they're somewhat limiting themselves by just doing those silly mistakes and just going into corners that they should definitely not risk that much, because they have good pace, but they don't have to push it to the absolute maximum. And now Spark has to get that first position against Goose and Sweat, who are not too far behind. Spark with a great line, has a lot of speed, but this screams like another draw, as Spark is on a great time as well. Goose going for the attack, but that is not the apex that you want to go for. Spark with a lot of speed. Goose going a bit wider, has a bit more speed here, but of course also traveled more distance. So it's a 0.64, but also 0.79 from Goose. So great times, and it's another draw. It's 7-6, match point for Antic if they can find the ace in the next round.
Yeah, but they are now the first to actually reach that point now. They have 7, so they only need an ace to secure match points, secure the grand final position, and go up against Trident in El Grande Finale. But we'll have to see, and with Planetary Goose making the fumble, it is all on Sved's shoulders. Planetary Goose did make that mistake early on, so if somebody has a fumble in front, and hopefully not Sved, there could be still opportunities here, but Sved now has to get, well, ideally first position. But with that happening, it might be over before we could even get to that point. Now, Spark and Kuda, do not make any silly mistakes. You should be able to see that you have a bit of leeway. Oh, Spark is really testing those corners though, Turbo. I don't like it.
Yeah, it's looking like a great time here from Spark, but I do think that this is it. Antic with a wonky performance on this map, but they were able to at least get a draw on all of those rounds, and there you go. It's a 0.69, a nice time to end things off, and, well, we can hear the scream from Goose as well. Yeah, you know, just trying to get back to his, you know, maybe you know the movie Rio, you know, he tries to get back to his friends. I don't know what he's doing,
he was getting into the pool there, so, you know, he was getting into his natural habitat. But unfortunately, that's not the finish block, so he needed to go a bit further. But Antic do take it 3-0. It was the result that we expected, so finally, we as casters actually have some sort of validity, that we actually know what we're talking about, unlike in the previous match. But yeah, it was expected for Antic to take it away. I will say that third map looked a lot more shakier than I think Antic wanted it to be. A lot of unforced errors, and it leaves Trident Storm, who played the same map as well, and they barely made any mistakes whatsoever. So not something that Antic can take lightly, and they have to keep that in mind when they go into the grand final.
Yeah, so it will now be a third place match between Restless and Steak and Cheese, and then we have the grand final, the rematch of Antic Esports versus Trident Storm. There will be quite the matches that will be happening, but before that, we're gonna jump into a small break. And guys, also after the third place match, we're gonna showcase the maps that will be played in the main event.